Hello everybody, welcome to Hidden Harvest with Liz. Today we're going to be doing a full garden tour, orchard, everything included. This might be a longer video, but before we get started on that, let me go ahead and open up the area for the chickens so they can get a little bit of extra sun. There they are. Let's just peek in at them. They are getting much, much bigger, faster than I was anticipating. I was expecting to do a lot of videos over this. It seems to be getting away with me on timing. But so far we are into our second week on the chickens, and they are starting to get their regular feathers. Chickens aside, because that's going to be a totally different video, assuming I can get out here to get the video. Right now the garden is doing a whole lot of stuff and I really need to cover it in a video. But first, let's start in the orchard because there's not as much going on and it'll be easier to do that one. This front yard area is actually my orchard area, or will be eventually. It's a work in progress. We just got this year our new fence line set up, and there's talk about moving this fence line back a little bit, but it's not happening this year. So I need to move a couple of the plants that I have over here, move them along the fence line, this one too, to get them backed up and out of the way. That way we've got more room to start more stuff. Our elderberry is coming back. I've got 2 of them and they're starting to spread out a little bit, but I really need to transplant these somewhere safer than the center of the yard, up against a fence area or something of the like. They are not doing that great, and I have a feeling it's because they are right beneath this big tree right here. Then I have got this one that I found at a flea market. This is a turkey fig. It's already got its first fig. This is only about a year-old, 2-year-old plant. So we just got it last year. I think it was a year old when we got it. And we put it in the ground and it did in fact survive. And then over here, please forgive my grass. It's a bit crazy out here right now, I know, but our lawnmower is currently down. Our lawnmower is currently down, and as soon as it gets done, the grass is going to be taken care of. It's crazy. This fig tree right here, we over pruned it. It was really my fault. I was hoping to prune it back enough to save this other thing that I will show you in just a second, but I actually took too much off. So we're going to have to reset this one. It sucks because it was a good producer. It was just way too tall for me to harvest. And I was hoping that we were going to get some more stuff coming in, and I don't see anything new around the bottom or anything like that. So yeah, I probably just over aggressively pruned this fig. What I was trying to do was, the way the sunlight comes up, our sunlight during the summertime comes up over that tree and over to our house. So this tree right above us shades out this area. I was hoping by getting rid of some of this tree, because this tree was basically blocking out all of the light this thing could get, I was hoping to cut this one back enough to where I would no longer have to worry about it blocking everything out, and I would be able to harvest easier. And this is a mulberry. It actually survived. It looked very pitiful last year. It's starting to look a whole lot better this year, but obviously I need to re-mulch around it and fertilize. This mulberry, on the other hand, as you can see, it is doing 1,000 times better, and that's because it's not being shaded out by other trees. I still need to mulch, fertilize, the whole 9 yards, and mow. Then over here, this is the first of the pawpaws. I'm pretty sure it has not survived. I've been waiting to see any signs of life, and I take it back. There is actually green on it. Guys, there's green. It has lived. It may not be doing all that great because of all of this other stuff. This has got to go. But what that means is I need to quickly get this one fertilized, watered, mulched, the whole 9 yards. I thought this was going to die. I thought I planted it too close to this old cedar tree, and I thought because cedars can sometimes kill off plants around it, that the stuff was still in the soil and it had killed this one. but it is actually alive. I am excited. That's a pawpaw tree. And then right next to it, we have another pawpaw that is actually starting to put on leaves. Nice. Now, something I didn't know about the pawpaw tree is, first off, it is so entirely bright out here. First off, the pawpaw, let me see if I can stabilize my camera here. Is that better? Maybe. I don't have the tripod sitting the correct way because I was trying to make this quick before I ran out of battery. The pawpaw trees can only fertilize through a specific type of fly. So you need two, and you need them close together, but they also cannot be from the same rootstock. They have tubers, or not tubers, it's something else that they grow off of. But if they're off the same grouping, they're basically the exact same tree and will not cross-pollinate. So you gotta be careful whenever you order them that you're getting from two different types of trees or two different tree kinds. So that's all of the trees in the orchard. Right here, right about this line, I'm thinking, right about this line, we've got a couple of apples that are coming in just a couple of days, really. I've already gotten the notification saying it's supposed to be coming in this week. So we have some apples that are supposed to come in. If Editing Liz can, maybe she can go ahead and put in the types of apples, but I will definitely talk about those whenever they come in. Okay, and then instead of starting in the garden where I usually start, what we're gonna do is we're gonna start by the berries right quick. And right here on the other side of this greenhouse that's kind of busted and don't worry about that. We're eventually going to get that taken care of. We've got our blackberries and our raspberries and a tree on a trailer. At one point, that trailer was supposed to become renovated and we were going to use it as a house. It quickly became evident that we weren't going to be able to use it. So while it sucks that the tree fell on it, nobody was in there. Nobody got hurt. The electricity was already torn off of the house. We'd already had that cut off with intentions of breaking the house down. So everything's fine. No worries. It looks like I'm about ready to get buds all over. Both plants are already starting to look like it. I have got some T-posts that are supposed to be going in the ground this week, hopefully, to set these guys up right. These posts right here were just like a temporary fix to get them off the ground while they grew. This year, they are absolutely taking over, and we should get a very big harvest. Then next up, we have our asparagus patch. Just kind of a quick aside for those who weren't here whenever the asparagus situation happened. I'm trying to get this adjusted. There we go, that's a little bit better. Whenever we first got our asparagus, I had two different types that came in, and one sat out too long and it didn't survive. So that spring I cast a whole bunch of different seeds down, and believe it or not, some of them took. So half of the bed was done with the starts, the little tentacly looking starts that you can get from the store, or whatever you call them. It's not starts, it's another word. Editing Liz, please help me out. My brain is rattled. And then I've got my new stuff, so it's going to be a couple of years before the new stuff can do anything. And I actually harvested 2 spears off of the stuff that I planted last year, just to actually taste it. I never tasted an asparagus freshly grown before, and it was not bad at all. I can't wait till I can start harvesting these guys full time. But anyway, that's the asparagus, plus we have a snapdragon here. I think this one is a white one. And here's the green asparagus. These are a purple variety. I've already forgotten the name. It was Purple Passion and then Washington. Over here is supposed to be my Jerusalem artichokes, and I tried to do like a winter crop of some beans and stuff. And oddly enough, the beans came up in spring. And so did all of the weeds. And I haven't seen any of my Jerusalem artichokes. I need to clean the bed out, but I don't necessarily want to get rid of my beans here because they still might produce something. And they're adding fertilizer, well, nitrogen, back to the soil, which really needed a good breakup. This bed was really bad last year. So this one is to be determined on whether or not any of it survived. Over here, we have got the strawberries, which are looking great right now. We're getting blooms. There are tiny little fruit sets over there. I have got some onions over here. These are the walking onions that I have in other places. They're already fixing to start walking again. And then I have got some snapdragons here. They are, oh my goodness, that road is loud right now. They are They are like a sunrise color. I'll have to see if I still have the packet for them to tell you what the name of them are, but they basically have a variety of color, and I can actually show you further in the garden because some of them have already started blooming this year, which is amazing. Let's move on to another bed for now though. Over here, if anybody remembers from last year, we had a fountain sitting over here, and this will get running again this year at some point. It's just not a top priority right this second. I've got several herbs that are planted, parsley, sage. I've got a flower right here that I still don't know what it's called. It was just gifted to me and I procreated it or split it apart, and there's some on the other side, some more sage on the other side, some oregano over here, and some feverfew, hyssop, cilantro, I think is what was trying to grow right there. But I also had some blueberries at one time that were trying to grow, and they look like they're still attempting to come back. Right now, this entire bed is covered with diatomaceous earth because I've got a big ant problem. And they're backpacking their fellows up into this plant. It's actually looking so much better right now. For anybody who's watched my content a whole lot, you know that I have a big issue with ants in my yard. And it's not just the ants don't really bother me all that much. They might take out a little bit, but their biggest issue is they like to backpack around aphids and mine the aphids on my plants. And I went in there to try and move some of the feverfew to another bed that I'll show you guys in a minute. And that entire feverfew was completely covered in aphids whenever I came over here. So the whole bed is covered in diatomaceous earth, and I have sprayed water into the aphids, then waited a couple of days and put diatomaceous earth down again, and I will continue this until either the ants or the aphids are gone, whichever one I have to do. And right now I have got all of my seedlings out here. They're in the process of hardening off. For the most part, they are hardened off. Bam is home. We have spotted a wild bam, and these are all of the plants that I have started, plus the plants, it's these two, right? Yeah, these two plants these two trays right here were actually from a time when I was going to get trays, and I found plants that were multiple sown, and I bought them and divided them up into 2 different trays. So far, everything has lived. It looks really good now. And my second planting of a whole lot of stuff finally yielded fruit. We've got a lot of tomatoes. I have got my cucumbers, my cantaloupe, my loofahs, my summer squash all planted right there. They're going to be ready in about 2 weeks or so, possibly. And then I've got a whole bunch of peppers and stuff over here too. Please excuse my dog barking. Someone has just arrived and she is not going to stop for a while, and I do not have time to wait for her to stop her things. She is actually just doing her job. She's protecting our location, and therefore I don't want to get onto her for it. I just do apologize that there's a lot of extra noise. So we have covered everything up to the mega garden. I say the mega garden. It's not really the mega garden. I'm making a ploy off of the mega coven from Supernatural. Now on to the big garden. I'm going to show you guys the overview and give you an idea of what's going on in the garden right now. There's a lot of information to cover between what I learned and what I did during the winter garden and what I have plans for as far as the actual summer garden and where everything is going to go. But first, let's just cover in this video what's going on right now. Okay, in bed number 1, we have got all of our garlic. We've got some elephant garlics. We've got some of our normal garlics. I even tried a soft neck version this year. We'll see how it turns out. The plants are starting to look a little bit better. Not hugely better, just a little bit better. To be fair, they went through temperatures they don't normally have to go through in this area, and they were fully grown basically about this size when those freezing cold temperatures hit. So I did pull back. Let me see if I can balance this. So I did pull back all of the mulch and fertilize around each and every single one of them to try and help give them a little bit more green back. But I think this bed is going to need a little bit of babying before it's finally harvest season. Also in this bed, I've got a volunteer tomato that is right there. I am pretty sure that is probably just a red tomato, a red cherry tomato, but I'm not 100%. That could actually be any number of the tomatoes that I had in the garden. I am going to let it grow to see what happens. Actually, let's start over here. On the left side beds we have over here, I've got 6 beds. In my garden plan, for some reason I only drew 5. So I had an extra bed in here. I'll get to that one in just a minute. Right here we have my leftover onions that are planted way back there. We'll get to those in a minute. But there's like a few of them left, and I figured I could let these grow up and have just like some small onions and an early harvest on the onions, and the rest of this bed is supposed to be squash, winter squash, whenever it's time. The next bed right here, you can hardly even see them, but these are the walking onions I transplanted from the old garden area, and these guys are already fisting to try and walk. And then this bed right here is actually a mixture of several different flowers, something I found in my local Tractor Supply. It looked very interesting. And I found out I had an extra bed when I came out here and actually started counting things and figuring out what I was doing. And a good pollinator area would be great for this location. Between my orchard over here, which is what I'm trying to get started, pollinator patch, my garden, and then over there having my berries and stuff, this would be a good layover spot for my pollinators. So I have started seeing sprouts. They're just coming up and they're really, really tiny over here, but this is a huge mixture of different types. I'm anxious to see what this looks like. Then over here, I've got a more permanent pharmaceutical bed, basically. By pharmaceutical, I mean like rosemary, lavender, feverfew, and I plan on adding the yarrow back here and the chamomile up here. And then over here is going to be my permanent amaranth bed. I've got several different kinds that are planted in here from the seed that I had last year. Plus, I have pulled a couple of pieces from the old bed over here where the amaranth was last year. I had some sprouts come up that I've transferred over here to see if they would stay. They do seem to be surviving, so whenever more of those sprout up, I'll transfer them up here. And then over here is going to be a lot of sunflowers. This is a rather small bed for sunflowers, but I figure if I'm going to make a location where I can constantly seed my own sunflowers, this is the best location, and it's a good thoroughfare between my garden and my orchard. All right, bed number 2. I do have some lettuces and some radishes seeded here. I'm not sure that they're actually going to produce. It's very hot here already. I think the ones that are over there are actually going to give me better crops than these, but I just wanted to sow something in instead of leaving a blank space. We'll see whether or not anything happens. Then I've got a bunch of parsley I need to harvest. I have got an arugula that has gone to seed, and I'm trying really hard to not pull this until I get the seed. I don't know if it's actually going to happen. And then I've got the one cauliflower so far that has not bolted on me. Not cauliflower, I'm sorry, kale that has not bolted on me. I take it back. Both of these types of kale have not bolted. Kale. Not collards. Way different in flavor. And in between, I know that you guys can see those plants right there. That's actually cilantro that has already bolted. And now if it survives, I will leave it here and I will go ahead and get the seeds from those whenever they finally come up. Over here, the only thing that is left is whatever this was. I know it's a flower, and I hope I'm pointing at it because my screen is very, very bright. It's right here. I don't know what it is. I think it's a calendula, but I'm not 100% going to wait for it to sprout. And of course, my other kale that has not gone to seed, which tells me this particular type of kale is probably the best kind for my area. And that's basically it in this one. This one is waiting for a revamp. Then on to bed 4. This is the bed that had all of my carrots in it. Right now I'm waiting on harvesting the parsley, which is so past I could go ahead and harvest it at any time. And I have some celery, parsley, celery, and another snapdragon. And it has already started blooming. It just came up today. This is one of those colors I was talking about. It fades from purples to reds to oranges and stuff like that. It's a really beautiful flower. And then over here, we have got a bed. These beans were planted last year, well, last winter, and they've just now come up. We'll see if they give us anything before it gets too hot. And then I have got carrots and onions. I actually planted out these carrots. Last year in hopes of getting a succession of carrots, and they barely sprouted. They were tiny, tiny little sproutlings. So this year, whenever it came time to find a place for the onions, I had another bed that I was going to use as an option. And I decided instead to plant them in here because this way I don't have to get rid of the carrots and wipe the bed clean and put something else in here because the carrots weren't really big enough. But what I could do is sow my onions next to them, thereby taking 2 beds, combining it into one, and now I have them both. Now how this is going to grow together, I have no idea. I have seen them grow this way, I personally have not had a chance to try it out. This will be a good experiment, especially since I have no idea how these carrots are going to taste going into the heat of summer. And down here at the end, amidst all of these weeds and everything, I do need to go back through here and weed. That's the only problem with this bed. It gets weeds really fast. I am pretty sure I have got amaranth seedlings. I don't know about this one, but there's a whole bunch of little red ones over here. I don't know if you guys can see that on screen, but those are definitely amaranth. And as soon as they get big enough, I'm gonna move them around off of this poor onion that seems to be having a really messed up time of growing. There you go. Sprout. As soon as they get big enough, I'll move those too. We have got more celery. Still doesn't seem like it's doing anything. I have some char that has survived. I haven't actually eaten anything off of them. They look pitiful all winter long. Mustard, that's trying to die. It's almost there. A huge collard. Okay, so it has gone to seed. And I have also got some evergreen onions. I'm actually not sure which ones these are. I planted like 3 or 4 different types of green onions. And this particular one is the only one that survived past eating and everything else like that. It just sat here all winter. We didn't do anything with it. And now it actually looks like it's going to seed, which is awesome because I currently have no seed left over for these. I tried to seed what I had in the package, and onions are really bad about not lasting that long. So if these guys seed out, I will definitely try to keep these plants in here to collect that. Now, right behind these beds, so I've got my short beds, my 2 sets of long beds, and right behind those, I have a goji berry, a gooseberry. If I can point to it, it's very hard to see because my screen is very bright. I have a gooseberry, goji berry, and then inside that cage is a tinier gooseberry that is just now starting to spring back to life a little bit. Whew, temperatures are already getting up there, guys. Hot. The gooseberries are a new addition this year, and I got a red variety and a green variety. We'll see how they are. Might be next year before I actually have a chance to get any of them. Let's go back up to the beginning again. I'm trying to leave you guys in suspense. There's a really cool flower I want to show you, so I'm going to leave you in suspense. All right, this next bed is actually my onions that I started last year. These are a red onion. It's like a Creole, Ray Creole something. I don't know now. It's been a while. Oh, never mind. I put a tag on it. Red Creole. That's actually the name of it. Red Creole. So that's one of the onions that I started. It's the only one that produced enough for me to lay out myself. I have my mint plants. Be careful with mint if you plant it. It can go everywhere. These guys right here, I actually need to pop them out, loosen up the soil a little bit, and then put them back in there. Kind of like reset both of them because they're looking a little... They're coming back to life, but at the same time, they're kind of looking pitiful. This bed right here is, well, it's dead. Basically, the bed is dead. But a couple of the onions that I tried to plant too late last year did survive, and I'm going to try and plant around them and just leave them in the bed, see what they do. I have yet another snapdragon right there. I don't know which one this one is. We'll just see whenever it blooms. And I do have some volunteer borage over here, and in the garlic. I forgot to mention in the garlic too. But there's some volunteer borage right here in a couple of places. I will be leaving that as well. And then over here we have our potatoes. They are coming up very nicely. I think these guys, which this end down here were the organic ones that I got from, my mind is going blank. I will just put it in right there. But those are the ones that are over there. They took a little bit longer, but it's not because of those. It's because there is shade being offered by my chicken coop. So this side stayed a little bit more shaded than the other sides. And these guys grew up pretty fast. It's about time to go ahead and put some mulch down to protect these. That is coming soon. And then here we go, the piece de la resistance. Look at these blooms. Look at those. I'm currently being dive bombed by a bee. Hang on. Okay, it moved off. All right, I'm not trying to piss off the bees. I actually want them here. But this is my favorite snapdragon so far. I would love to have more varieties that do the same kind of coloration. These are absolutely gorgeous. It survived the entire winter and has done nothing but flourish. So that's awesome. Also in this bed, this was basically the bed that I created specifically for my chickens to have snacks all winter long. And I have cleared out most of it. And the bed is doing okay. There's a bit of stuff I still need to pull out, and some of it's trying to go to seed, but ultimately it's not that big a deal. That over there, there's another bee. Okay. That over there is a dead basil. I'm not really worried about that. I should take it out. I just haven't done it. But this bed is basically ready to be cleared out except for this. This is definitely getting saved. And we already covered that bed. And then over here, hold on just a sec. Let me see if I can get the... Every time I come over here with a camera, Bravo occasionally gets to thinking that it's a chicken and he starts crowing at it and stuff like that, so I don't know if that's going to happen. But I don't want him harassing his ladies because he thinks that there's another rooster around, so I'm going to try and make this quick. Over here, we have got our lemon basil, and I am pretty sure what is springing up in between is either an invasive weed or it's hickory. It's probably both. Pretty sure that's hickory because that's where I planted it, and that looks like the same leaves, which is awesome that it came back. It was a perennial, but I thought I had pulled up all of the stumps from it because I wanted to plant it in a different area, but none of my hickory seeds sprouted, so it survived. And there's an invasive species, and that's might be an invasive species, and they can fight with each other because I want both. I am very excited that the lemon basil is back. I am so anxious to make lemon basil tea. Over here, this bed really needs mulching, but I have not done it yet. We've got some lettuces and radishes going in succession. These two were planted first, and then these two like 2 weeks later on. These guys, I really need to get them mulched, or they probably won't survive the heat that is coming. But we're currently working on irrigation, and I'm trying really hard to hold off on mulch of all kinds until after the irrigation is in. We already have, you can see right there, and right along here, we've got the main line already ran, and we've already got the parts to put in the actual in-bed stuff, but that's going to be a different video. But as soon as I can get the irrigation lines in, hopefully very soon, I will be able to do the mulching. This is a purple snapdragon right here. The purple ones are cool, but they're kind of, I like the multicolored snapdragons. I'm finding I like them a whole lot more. Then I have got these artichokes, and only one out of all the artichokes I had survived the frost that we had. And then over here, we also have some celery. And I'm not sure how these guys are doing. I think they will do much better after they are irrigated. I'm not sure whether or not celery is going to grow here. This is like my second or third time, and they never seem to like bolt or anything else like that, but they never actually produce. I do need to get over here and weed. I need to get over here and weed this area. I have not weeded this bed yet at all. And I'm not sure how I feel about planting more of the artichokes because they just don't seem to be taking. Even though I plant them now, if they don't ever globe up, then there's really no point in me trying to grow them around here. So we'll just see how it does. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And these guys, I might just have to use these tiny little stalks as flavoring rather than full celery. And of course, let me show you all of my chickens. Let's actually go inside. It's actually a little bit cooler in here, guys. Whew, you got it nice. All right, the things that I need to do for the chicken coop is this needs to be sprayed off. They've got a little area up here that even when it rains, they're not stuck in the mud. They've got a little dirt bath that they never use. They use that area or that area. They never actually use that. What I'm planning on doing this year, hello, ma'am. I don't have any snacks, guys. I'm sorry. I don't have any snacks. They're fully expecting me to have snacks. This year, what I plan on doing is using straw inside the... I don't have any. I don't have any, dude. He's protesting. Go get me snacks. I don't have any. You guys can only have those snacks once a day. It's too much protein. I'm planning on putting hay in here. I'm going to take this entire layer up and put down fresh hay and layer up hay inside this area. This year we will also be doing the expansion to... Let me see if I can actually show you guys what we're planning on doing. We're going to take this all the way back and all the way around and all the way back up. Whenever we do that, it will basically double the amount of the run. Let me see if I can put you guys where I've got a little bit of extra. Basically, we're going to double the amount of the run, and it needs to be done before the chicks are fully able to be in with the other chickens. So, in about May-ish, will be the time when we have to start working on integrating. So we've got a little bit of time before we have to do that. But as soon as we do, they'll have a little bit more forage that they can get a hold to. And this year I'm actually intending to try and put in an in-garden, oh, what would you call that? A seed area for them. As soon as we get the whole fencing down, there will actually be crops sown close to the pens so that they can play around with them. But as of right this second, they all went inside. They're mad that I didn't bring them more snacks. But what I'm planning on doing for this section is adding in some hay and then collecting that at the end of the season, not fermenting, but allowing it to sit there for a season and then using it inside my beds. That way they can pick all of the seeds out of it, because I'm not going to try and buy some that's not seeded, and it'll have a whole lot of nitrogen, and I can just let it sit, and then I can start using it on the garden. These wood chips that I have for this year, I'm going to set those aside this year to go on my trees for next year. At least those are the plans I have for all the stuff right now. And of course you saw the plans for the flock itself. We have more chicks. Okay, and for those of you who watched my videos before, you know that I had a greenhouse. This particular type of greenhouse is basically a hoop with this like green material over the top of it. It lasted exactly one season before it started putting plastic all over the ground. So I'm actually looking to get a regular greenhouse. I'm trying to cut a deal with someone who is in town that is selling them. We'll see whether or not it actually happens. They're not cheap, but at least they won't fall apart in one season like this one did, because I really needed this to start my seeds in this year and I did not have it. But maybe next year. Maybe next year. It's a work in progress. So there's really nothing in here besides a whole bunch of junk that's just sitting there waiting. No garden stuff. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for the garden. I know that was a lot to digest. That was a whole lot of stuff. I've got a whole lot of things going on in so many different places right now, but as we move into the season, I'll start doing garden tours, but mostly we'll be focusing on one bed at a time, on what's going on, what I'm learning, what my experiment is, because typically I do an experiment along with it, and we'll just see how it goes for the year. Thank you guys so much for being here. I will see you guys in our next episode. You have a wonderful day, wonderful night, and you stay shiny. Bye!